To our focus report next, where we head to the Kingdom of Jordan. The country has been dealing with the spillover in fighting in neighbouring Syria and Iraq. Jordan is seen as pro-Western, and last year it experienced more terror attacks than ever before. The latest took place last December, killing 10 people. However, it was an earlier suicide attack in June 2016 that pushed Jordan to seal its northern and eastern border. Our reporters filed this report from the Jordanian border with Syria.
Kader was only 21 years old. The young soldier was killed on June 21, 2016, along with 5 of his colleagues in a terror attack at Jordan's border with Syria. The attack was claimed by the Islamic State group. His mother, still heartbroken.
We've put up this poster so I can see him all the time. Every time I leave the house and every time I come home, I see him. That way, I feel like he is still alive.
Accompanied by her children, Amna often visits her son's grave. Kader was symbolically buried just a stone's throw away from the Syrian border. The border he gave his life defending. He was part of the Border Protection Brigade in the Jordanian army.
He didn't seem scared. He left in the morning to see his colleagues, spend some time with them. Everything was normal. He said he was happy. A mother always worries about her child, so I was scared for him. I would call him all the time throughout the day until he finished work.
The attack that killed Kader marked a turning point for Jordan. Amman announced the closure of its northern border the very next day. A new escalation in the war against extremism. At his post on the edge of a cliff, this Jordanian border guard has a clear view of Syria. On his right, an area controlled by fighters from the Free Syrian Army. On his left, jihadi territory. Often at night, the guards can hear shots fired as the two sides engage in armed conflict. The Jordanian soldiers say they're normally just spectators, but are always ready to intervene if necessary.
Our objective is to block traffic and the illegal passage of people, to watch the borders day and night and collect information.
A 380-kilometer border separates Syria and Jordan. While the army refused to say how many soldiers stand watch at the border, they claim there were many more than before the June attack, and that they were more heavily armed.
Everyone knows the Jordanian borders are closed, and so everyone who approaches the border is viewed as a threat.
What authorities know for sure is that the threat continues to increase, especially due to the ongoing battle in Mosul, Iraq. As the battle heated up, many Islamic State militants fled the city, heading towards Al-Qaim and Bukamal. Now, Amman thinks they're heading for Al-Qusayr, a village in the south of Syria, dangerously close to the Jordanian border. Another consequence of the border closure: injured fighters and refugees can't re-enter the country for medical treatment. This hospital in the countryside, deserted. Soldiers stand at the ready, just in case.
If people need a quick surgical intervention, we can take care of them and then decide if they need to be transferred to a hospital. We receive around 3 people per week, but before there were many more.
The country feels like it's under threat. But that threat comes from both sides of the highly guarded border. Increasing numbers of young Jordanians are being lured to join jihadist groups. That's what happened to Mazlan Dalain's son. Mohammed was 23 years old when he blew himself up in Iraq's Anbar province. It was October 2015. Right before his death, he announced in a video his allegiance to the Islamic State group.
Every day, this organization is infiltrating Jordanian families. We're always hearing about young people trying to join the jihadists in droves. Our goal is to send a message to Jordanian families. Parents, protect your children so that the tragedy we've been through doesn't happen to other families.
According to him, Jordan is lacking an effective program that prevents radicalization of youth.
When such a tragedy occurs, imams throughout the country talk about it during the Friday prayer, but people soon forget. We need a long-term strategy.
If you track the speeches of the Jum'ah prayer, you will find that it's not consistent. They tackle sometimes 12 to 13 topics instead of having direct messages, alternative messages to counter radicalization.
This researcher is trying to raise awareness. She's been working on a program with the government since 2015. The goal is to train imams and women preachers to transmit a moderate message. The training workshops are closed to journalists, but a wall in this office features drawings made by participants in the program, a way to better organize their ideas. But the road ahead is a long one.
We are also facing a challenge as a civil society or as a government with the community context that we are living in, who sometimes they don't want to admit the problem of violent extremism in Jordan, or they don't want to show the Jordan community as having this problem.
It's a problem that undoubtedly exists. While the government estimates about 300 Jordanians have left to join extremist groups in Syria, many analysts believe the number to be much higher.
Now, for more analysis on this story, we are joined by Hilal Akhashan, a professor of political studies at the American University of Beirut. Thank you very much for joining us on the program. Just how bad is the situation in Jordan?
Well, I mean, the situation is not good at all. It is not good, it is bad. It can get worse because ISIS is determined on taking the battle to Jordan and other regional countries. As ISIS becomes more and more pressured in Syria and Iraq, they are intent on broadening the scope of their operations in softer areas, and it happens that Jordan is such a soft area.
But what is luring young Jordanians to join these terrorist organizations?
Well, many Jordanian tribes, especially Transjordanians, and specifically in southern Jordan, are a continuation of tribes in northern Saudi Arabia, and jihadi, Wahhabi, and Wahhabi jihadi doctrine is very much strong among them. Let's remember that many Jordanians played a key role in the fight against the Americans in Iraq in the 1990s and in previous years. And Abu Mus'ab al-Zarqawi, who played a fundamental role in the fight against Americans, happened to come from southern Jordan. So the appeal of ISIS to many Transjordanians is significant, to say the least.
Now, in the report which we just aired, I hope you were able to hear that. We had okay, that's great. We had someone who said that the government fails to realize that there is a problem in Jordan, but surely they must realize if they decided to close the border with Syria.
Well, they put more troops, but that does not mean they have been able to seal the border with Syria. To tell you the truth, it is impossible to seal the border. As you mentioned in the report, it is 380 kilometers long. Even if you line up the entire Jordanian army along the border, they will not be sufficient to seal the border.
Now, okay, well, has sealing the border helped? Because closing borders, building walls, that seems to be the solution to everything these days.
No, it will not solve it at all because, again, many ISIS militants can easily come to Jordan through Al-Anbar in Iraq. And that's another long border. And let's keep in mind that in Jordan there is domestic support for ISIS, and there are many ISIS sleeping cells throughout Jordan. So even if the border is sealed, that would not take Jordan outside the danger zone.
But what more can the government do, given that already Jordan is a pro-Western country that isn't regressive?
Well, okay, the government in Jordan is literally doing more than it can possibly do. Being pro-Western, being the recipient of generous American military aid is not enough. Here you have to deal with a population that seem that at least for a portion of it, seem to be attracted to ISIS and its doctrine.
So, more controls on the internet?
Could you repeat? Okay. I didn't hear this.
Would there be more controls? I mean, what more can the government do? Because if you say that young people are attracted to the Islamic State propaganda, what should they block more websites on the internet, more jihadist propaganda?
Well, it is not just blocking the internet. look, I mean, this is a long, drawn-out confrontation. And there is no doubt in my mind that eventually ISIS will be defeated. And you can't expect ISIS to be defeated overnight, and you can't expect its ideas to disappear within a few months. So what we can hope for is for it to keep weakening until eventually the time can come when we may claim triumph once and for all against it.
Okay, Professor, thank you very much for joining us on the program. That was Hilal Khashan, and a professor of political studies at the American University in Beirut. We're going to take a short break. More news coming up after. Stay with us. You're watching France 24.